Hello all. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Today we're going to be doing some more course notes, some more code notes, and there's a couple of pull requests that I want to work through. This is the course notes GitHub repository that will be used to hold the content for the courses on howtocodewell.net. Sorry if I'm looking in that direction. It's because I've just made a breakthrough with some Terraform code. So yay me! That's something that I got to deal with later. I've got a problem with the GitLab pipeline, and I think I've just sorted it just before we got on. So anyway, moving on to what we're doing. Let's get into the code. Boom. Right. Let's get to this bit here. This is the pull requests. We have done switch statements, conditional statements, transcript for tutorial 2 for the Docker for Beginners course, and adding code notes for the Docker machine. I think what I'm going to do is a little bit of admin work, I think, today, just to sort all of this out, because there's a bunch of these PRs that I will need to review, and I'm going to do it all in a sort of a batch, but I just want to upgrade and update these to make sense, so when I do go and have a look at these PRs in depth, I can actually work out which ones relate to what. So let's click on this one. This is adding code notes for Docker machine. So let's take a look at the files. I'm not going to go through and actually read all the bits and pieces. I just want to make sure that things are labeled correctly. So we have the 4 things in there. That's great. The 4 files. I am going to just assign it to myself, and I'm going to set the labels for this. So this is Docker machine. It is also missing course notes. I'm a bit of a stickler for these labels, to be honest. It's easier when you've got a load of these things and you're trying to sort of filter in your head. That seems okay. That's fine. I don't believe there's any milestones for that. Let's go back to the actual pull requests and have a look for the other ones. That looks good. So we've got course, Docker machine, documentation, missing course notes that was added. Then we've got this one here, which is course Docker for beginners. It's documentation and it's a transcript. That is fine. I don't believe there's project. Yeah, I'll just assign it to myself. That's fine. Okay, and let's review the next one, which is this one, conditional statements. Now this, I believe, goes to the PHP control structures course. So, yeah, let's put that in. So again, assign it to myself, go to labels, and it is course PHP. It's not that one. It's definitely missing course notes, but what's the course? PHP control structures. Yes, it is that one. Okay, so hopefully they'll go in. Yep. And it is also documentation. That looks good. Let's get back. Is that the last one, or is there another one? No, there's another one. Switch statements. That again is for the PHP control structures course as well. So let's click on that one. Because what I'll do is once I've got a batch of these things, I'll probably do it on a course by course basis, and I'll just review the PRs and whatnot. So click on you, do some labels. So this is a bit of admin work, I guess. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for course course notes, missing course notes, control structures, I think, and also documentation. I'm not sure if the documentation label actually means anything, to be honest, because they're all really documentation, but whatever. The others have it, so I'll continue on. Okay, so that looks good. So we got these 2 in there, and then this one is apparently I decided to put in all of the course notes for that particular course in there. So if we go to issues now, we should see that this one here, which says switch statements, now that's an interesting one because that relates to this one, does it not? Missing course notes and switch statements. Yes, it does. I've referenced the file. Yes. Okay. So that is ongoing. So we've got for loops, we've got while loops, for each loops, conditional statements. That is also ongoing. And then we've got some stuff to do with the internal server, interactive shell, how to discover PHP features. Okay, so these are moving into those courses. How to filter input variables in PHP. Okay, I'm looking for some quick wins to do tonight. Then we've got a bunch of MySQL stuff. So we've got how to select records from a MySQL database, how to change null fields in a table, how to create a database in a table. Okay, they could be quite lengthy documents. Sorting of a file. This is all now into the Linux world. And then more Linuxy stuff. Working with directories, how to rename files, and then more Docker machine stuff that would relate to so the Docker machine course stuff, this lot relates to this PR. So I'm going to just link that PR up. So that is the PR in here. So what we can do in edit, we can do, just so I'm aware, relates to, and then these pull requests. So we've got all these issues which are here. Right, so it relates to, we'll just copy that link, paste it into there. If I did preview, yeah, there we go. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do that sort of nice GitHub linky stuff. Copy that, paste it into there, and then that's 21. This would be, oops, wrong tab. I probably need to adjust the template for this to allow for these kind of things, but you know, like the pull request template. But anyway, so there we go. So that PR, adding code notes for Docker machine, relates to these. Okay, so I'll update that. Okay, all right. So I think we're in a good place because we have these pull requests and they are all now sort of triaged, I suppose. And we've got some issues now that we can now sort of determine which ones are in flight and which ones are not. I guess what we could do is work on the for loop, maybe the while loop. I think we could probably do that. I just want to double check that there is no other branches that don't have any pull requests against them. No, these are all open. And that one's merged. Okay, no, so that's fine. That's okay. So we're good to go. So let's see. Let's see then. We probably should just continue with this one, to be honest. See if we can work our way through the control structures course, to be honest. So this one here is the missing course notes for for loops. So let's go and do that then. So what is this? 127. So let's go over to here. Let's go into the other project because that's not the right one. It is this one. Boom. Come on, wake up. Wake up. Thank you. All right. So we are in the course notes. Let's do a, we're on the 28 branch here. So let's do a git checkout. I think it's in main. Is it main? Yep. Let's do a git pull. Make sure that we've got the latest stuff. We do. let me just do a terraform destroy on this other machine before I totally forget, and then close the lid of this laptop, and then I get charged ridiculous amounts. Bear with me a minute. I'm on another machine. There we go. Right. Okay, so that's good. We're on main. Let's do a git checkout -b. Oops. And I think I said it was 127. Was that right? 127. Yeah, 127. So this is for loops. So let's do PHP control, or just PHP for loops. That'll do. Right. Let's get into it. So it is in control structures and it is for loop. There we go. Now I just want to double check that that is the right thing. Sometimes it's not, it doesn't tally up correctly. So here we have missing course notes for loops. 4 being the tutorial number, and this tutorial number is 3. So we've already come across a little bit of a weirdness there. I guess what I could do is I could verify this on the actual website. That would be good. That would be a good idea. So let's go to howtocodewell.net. Have a look at this. Oh, is this one of these courses? Aha, control structures. Right. So here we go. This is on the live site, and we've got conditional statements, for loops, while loops, and conditional statements for each loops, while loops, and for loops. So for loops is actually 1, 2, 3, 4. It's actually the 4th one in. So this is correct, wherever it's gone. This one is correct, so this is number 4, so that's correct. But this isn't, and I've just realized that that is not actually, there we go, not good on the screen. There we go, that's better. Okay, so let's compare them. We have, let me see if I can butty this up a bit. There we go. So we got conditional statements, which is number 1, which is relates to number 1 there. And then we've got for each loops, which isn't even on the thing. PHP control structures. Okay, so that's not even a thing. Okay, and then we've got while loops, which is actually the next one up. And then we've got for loops, which is number 4. So these two need to change places. Let me just triple check that in the pull requests we have conditional statements of 1, 2, 4. What are we doing with this PR? We are oh, actually, hang on, I can have a look at the commits. Here we go. Renaming file from 0.1 to, okay, so that's just the first. That looks like it's just the first tutorial, right? Yeah, it's just the first tutorial. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. And there is no other pull requests that relate to this course, is there? Oh, yes, there is. There's switch statements. Okay, let's have a look at what that does. I just don't want to, I want to foresee any conflicts. So 5 and 6. 5 and 6 has been changed. 6 has been removed, 5 has been added as switch statements. So 5 is now switch statements. Okay. So we want to work on 4, which is for loops. So what I can do is rename this to 0.4. And then rename that to no, let's leave it to 0.3. I think that's correct. 0.3, because if I go back to the actual website, 1, 2, 3 is while loop. So yeah, that is now the right order. All right, so let's do a git status, and what I've done is just done a quick rename. So we can do a git commit -am, and we can say that 1227 renamed rename files. There we go. Right. Okay. So we're now in the wonderful world of the for loop. So I can do some explanation as to what that is. Let's just get rid of that screen for a minute. Oh, sorry, that was just yeah, that's destroyed. Brilliant. So what I've been trying to do this evening, I had this weird idea about 10 minutes before the stream to because last weekend I've been working on GitLab. And I've been trying to get GitLab to build, or sorry, I've been trying to get a server running GitLab, and I've been trying to get it working through Terraform. And the way I'm approaching it is to you build it through Terraform and then wait for the SSH connections to come in to be established, and then after that I'm planning on running Ansible. So that's I was trying to do it this weekend and I just couldn't wrap my head around it, but I managed to get it done about 10 minutes before the stream, so I'm pretty glad. Anyway, we are talking about for loops today. So essentially a for loop allows you to loop over data in PHP. I know that sounds very abstract, but I suppose it is an abstract term. It's a conditional statement which changes the flow of the application, and it's iterating over your data. You have to define a bunch of expressions. So, for example, for expression 1, expression 2, then expression 3, and then inside the actual block, you have your statement, the statement that you want to execute for each time you iterate over your data. Again, that sounds very abstract, but I'll try and do my best to explain it a little bit more. Okay, so in PHP, a for loop evaluates expressions no. In a for loop iterates over a data. I was going to say a data set, but because normally what you would have is like an array, and you would loop over the array, or you could have a number, right? So you could say for I is equal to 1, and then you would say, I is less than. This is more of an expression based, so I is less than or equal to a particular limit, and then you would have I++, and that means that you're incrementing the first expression, which is I equals 1 or whatever. Is now I equals 2, I equals 3, I equals 4. So actually what I'll do is we will go back to what it was. So in PHP, a for loop evaluates, I can't spell anything, so we'll just have to go through that. In PHP, a for loop evaluates a series of expressions. Until the first expression is resolved. In PHP, a for loop evaluates, it's not, I can define it a little bit more, evaluates three expressions, yeah, evaluates I'm not really explaining it. All right, let's get rid of that. A for loop evaluates 3 expressions in a loop. Yeah, so a for loop. Yeah. So let's just create an example. Let's just create an example of a for loop. So what you would have is something like on PHP world, you would have, say, for, and then you would have your I'll keep it to the expression. So expression 1, and then you would have expression 2, and then you would have expression 3, right? That's 5. Expression 3, and then in here you would then have some run statement. And then for each time you do that, expression 1 gets reevaluated. Again, that's not really explaining it well. A for loop evaluates 3 expressions in a loop. A for loop evaluates 3 expressions in a loop until in a loop, full stop. All right, these expressions are re-evaluated for every, I don't want to use for each, for every iteration, for every iteration of the loop until the first expression is resolved. So a loop evaluates 3 expressions, or yeah, a loop evaluates 3 expressions. A loop evaluates 3 expressions. These expressions are re-evaluated for every iteration of the loop, and for every iteration, let's not put in of the loop, for every iteration until the first expression is resolved. So it's one of those concepts that doesn't make sense until you actually see it happen. And this example, expression 1, expression 2, and expression 3, doesn't really make sense until you actually put in like a real world thing, right? So like this is a very abstract concept, but what you could have is something more real world. So you would have something like I don't want to use I, because if I is again a very abstract term. Let's use something that is a little bit more everyday. So let's do for I num in basket, or qty basket qt. I always fall back to like an e-commerce example. So basket quantity is equal to say 1, and then you would have the second expression, which is basket quantity is less than or equal to, let's say 3, right? So let's say, for example, here we have another variable, and we call this qty or product limit is equal to 3. Right, so it needs to be less than or equal to the product limit. And then what we do is say basket quantity plus plus. I mean, again, you wouldn't necessarily. This isn't really sort of production code, but it's just trying to give you some skin on the bones, some sort of context as to what expression 1, expression 2, and expression 3 could be. So in this scenario, we have a limit to how many products you can have, and so you have your basket quantity. And you're saying that you start with the basket quantity of 1, and then you're iterating over that and saying, well, basket quantity is less than or equal to the product limit. And if that's the case, then the basket quantity increments. So we can now say echo something like, let's put it in single quotes. So we can do like basket quantity is now, and then basket quantity, like that. And let's put that on a new line, like that, and concatenate that string. There we go. And just for, there's no reason for these to be in double quotes. Let's put these in singles. Right, so what this is going to say is that the limit is 3. So it's going to go basket, it's going to say, oops, actually it doesn't need that. It's going to say basket qty is now, and so that will be 1, right? And then that will be 2, and then that will be 3, and you won't get 4. So when you run this, it'll be basket quantity is now 1, basket quantity is now 2, basket quantity is now 3, right? But you may want to have like let's try and change this into something a little bit more familiar. So let's say, for example, you are applying a discount. So for example, you could have discount is equal to 0, right? And for every one of these, you are adding something to the discount. So you could say, let's just make that a little bit like there. There we go. So you could say, for example, you could say that for each round, you say that the discount is equal to discount plus I don't know, what would you say? So like 5, for example. So for every one of these, it's going to increment by 5. Therefore, the discount would end up being 15. Get my maths right. Would end up being 15 in that case. And I need to get rid of that. So like, let's say that you have a limit to a product that you can put into your basket, but the more products you add of that particular product, you get a discount. So in this case, we're saying that we start with a discount of 0, and the more products you add of this, you get a discount. Yeah. So, and then, I mean, I guess what we could do is just have another line in here and say discount is now, and then discount, like that. So I guess what we could do, let's bring this into another thing here. Let's do PHP-A just to spin this up, just to you know, test this out. Let's just do discount is equal to 0. Then product limit is equal to 3. Then I tell you what, I might be able to just print that out, to be honest. Copy that and paste that in there. There we go. So basket quantity. So I've just basically copied that in there, and then it's executed it. So we've got basket quantity is now 1, right? So that's what that is. And then we have a space underneath, and a basket, and so this needs to be discount is now 5. Right, and then we've got basket QTY is now 2, which is what I predicted there, and then we've got discount is now 10 because we're adding the previous discount. We're adding the previous discount, which is 5, and we're plussing that by, or we're adding 5. Well, we're not anymore. Now we are. So that increment, that doesn't increment, that goes up to 10. And then we iterate it again, right? Because we haven't hit the limit yet. So now we plus, right? So that now goes up to 3. So the basket quantity is now 3, right? Because we've on the third iteration, we've incremented that 3 times, so we're on 3. And this here, this operator is saying it needs to be less than or equal to the limit, which is 3, which it now is. So we now have the basket quantity is now 3, and the discount is now 15. Now this could be, you know, percentage perhaps, or you know, whatever. Sorry, discount. There we go. So yeah, I mean, does that explain it a little bit better than just this? I see a lot of these examples, and it's like expression 1, expression 2, expression 3, and it's, in my opinion, it's best to have some form of, you know, everyday sort of scenario, even if you don't know what, like, you know, what this is, right? Even if you don't know what this is, if you read this, you start to go, oh yeah, that is actually finding the previous one and then adding 5 to it. So, you know, each time that goes, discount starts at 5 because that is 0 to begin with. All right, so discount is now 5. So we're still here. Discount's 5. Next one, okay, well discount is 5, and we're saying 5 plus 5. Well, that's 10. Okay, the next one, well, that's now 10. So 10 plus 5. Well, that's 15. So yeah, this is a very useful tool to manipulate the flow of the application and to alter the variables. Because down here, for instance, so if we were to echo out underneath all of this, right? So basket QT is now that, and discount is that. So this will end up, let's put in some space. Yeah, this will now end up with these two. And I will copy this again. So basket QTY is 3, discount 15. And again, I will just grab all of this, paste it in to the block here. There we go. So discount is 15. Why does that say 4? Okay, basket quantity discount is now 15. Basket quantity is now 3, and I put in a space in there, and that's incremented up. Yeah, so that's cool. Good. Right. That's that. I'm going to probably just remove this, to be fair, because it's going to get a lengthy example. I think that kind of, proves the point. So a for loop evaluates 3 expressions. These expressions are re-evaluated for on every iteration. Or let's change this. On every iteration, or during every, on every iteration, these expressions are re-evaluated until the first expression is resolved. Once the first expression, is it the first expression? Yeah, it is. Well, yeah, no, it's actually the second expression. Once that gets resolved, it's actually the second expression. So until the second expression is resolved, right? Because your re-evaluate on each, so on every iteration, the second expression is re-evaluated until it is resolved. That makes sense. That makes better sense. Because the first expression is more of an assignment. That's more of an assignment. That's more of an evaluation, and then that's an assignment as well. But they're all expressions. So once the second expression has resolved, the loop is completed and no longer loops. Is completed. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, so I'll give you a bit here. So the following is the format of the for loop. It's more of a structure, is the structure of the for loop. And then down here we have the following is a real world example of how to use a for loop. In this example, I'll put that on a new line. In this example, the discount increases by 5 each time by 5. In this example, the discount increases by 5 for every iteration of the loop. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay, I think that kind of explains it. I mean, there are other things that we could do, like we could have some if statements in there, which I probably should do actually. So for example, breaking out of the loop and things like that. So I could do like a bit in here, and we could say like breaking the loop. So and I probably should talk about what this does, to be honest. Yeah, maybe I'm jumping a bit too forward here. I should really sort of talk about what these expressions are. Yeah. So, okay, let's do that. The first expression. The first expression. The first expression is evaluated once at the beginning of the loop. The second expression is evaluated per iteration. I can't spell iteration. If the second expression resolves to true, resolves true, if the second expression resolves true, then the statements are executed. Yeah. If the second expression resolves false, then the loop, then the execution of the loop ends. Yeah. So what we're saying is that you've got the very first expression that is evaluated once at the beginning of it doesn't at the beginning of the loop. Yeah, so it does it for right at the start. So that gets evaluated right at the start. Then after this, then for every other iteration, these two go. That goes, and then that runs. Okay, so if the second expression resolves, right, the second expression is evaluated per iteration. If the second expression resolves true, and we'll put this in backticks, then the statements, which is here, are executed. If the second expression resolved false, again I'll put this in in backticks, then the execution of the loop ends. Okay, right. At the end of each iteration, the third expression is evaluated which often changes the well, yeah, I think that's probably it. It's one of these things that you can get really, really wordy with if you really are not careful. You could get really wordy and basically not say anything. You could just throw words at it. Let's go from the top. So a loop evaluates 3 expressions. On every iteration, the second expression is reevaluated until it is resolved. Until it cannot be resolved. Well, no, that doesn't really make sense. Until it resolves false to a false resolves with a false outcome. Okay, I'll put that in backticks. All right, let's try that again. So, okay, a for loop evaluates 3 expressions on every iteration. The second expression, oh, sorry, a for loop evaluates 3 expressions. I should put that as a, right, on every iteration, the second expression is reevaluated until it resolves with a false outcome. Once the second expression has resolved, the loop is completed. Once the second expression has resolved true, the following is the structure of a for loop. Of a PHP for loop. Okay, so the first expression is evaluated once at the beginning of the loop. The second expression is evaluated per iteration. Let's put these in their own, you know, there we go. Right, so the first expression is evaluated once at the beginning of the loop. The second expression is evaluated per iteration. If the second expression resolves true, then the statements are executed. Statements. Let's statements within the body of the for loop are executed. There we go. If the second expression resolved false, then the execution of the loop ends. At the end of each iteration, the third expression is evaluated. The following is a real-world example of how to use a for loop. So in this example, the discount increases by 5 for every iteration of the loop. Okay, that kind of makes a bit more sense, I think. It's kind of explaining it a little bit more than what it was before. Okay, so we can talk about now breaking out of the loop. So what we could do is say, I'm just thinking about how I would start this. Okay, breaking loop. Okay, let's. I tell you what, I'll create an example again, and I seem to find it easier once I've got an example to get things out in my head. So we've got discount equals 0, product limit is 3. How would we kind of need to have, we need to have an if statement. So if basket quantity is, say, 2, let's change this to be 10, right? Let's bump this up. All right. So let's say if the basket quantity is 6, right? Then what we do is we break. Now, I'm just trying to think of how I can get this into some sort of like real world kind of example here, and I'm struggling. Oh, okay. Okay, what we could do is is we could have a discount, and if the discount is so the discount increments by 5 each time. So maybe we want to have like a limit on this. So maybe we have discount limit, and maybe we say that this limit is 20. So if the discount matches the discount limit, then we break out this loop. Yeah, does that make sense? So we're saying that we've got discount limit, product limit. So you can only have 10 products in your basket. For each product in your basket, you get a 5% discount, right? However, there is a limit to the amount of discounts that you can have. So you could say, yeah. So yeah, so you're gonna product limit. So why don't we change this to be? Yeah, product limit. Product count. Basket quantity. If the basket quantity is less than or equal to the product count. No. I'm destroying the definition of this. Basket quantity is 1. Basket quantity is less than or equal to the product limit, which is 10. If that's the case, then we increment it by blah 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 blah. So we have this here. Yeah, and then we increment it to there. And what we can say is we can have an echo at this bit, and we could say like discount limit reached. Yeah, discount limit reached. So let me just run this through here, and then we can get like an example of what this kind of what the output is. So let me just run that. So here we go. So we get to 1, we get to 2, we get to 3, bumping up the discount by 5, so 5 and 10. That gets to 15. We're now on 4. Discount is now 20, and now the limit has been reached. Yeah. So you can imagine like your basket checkout, your basket quantity. Let's say, for example, basket quantity came in at like 2, for example. Right? So we're on discount 20. So boom, 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 boom. Let's say that you've come in with a basket quantity of 2, and then run this. Yeah, that's great. Because it's coming in at 2 and it's going 5, 10, 15, 20. So it's always going to say that we can't go anywhere closer, anywhere above 20 for the discount. So that's the discount limit reached. I mean, what you could have is like a more of a percentage thing and maybe some random bits and pieces here. I don't know. So yeah, let's bump that back to 1. Cool. Okay, so this should be. Let's just spin this back so I can actually get some proper output for this. Bum, 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 boom. Right, so we start with basket quantity of 1, that's 5, then it's 2, that's 10, that's 3, that's 15, and now we've got discount. We've got these 2, haven't we? Yeah. So let's do boom. So it's 3, it's 15, discount is 20. Sorry, after the 15 it goes basket quantity is now 4, discount is now 20, and then the limit is reached. Yeah. So what we're saying is we're capping it by that. I mean, to make this a little bit more of a real worldy sort of thing, you could say you could alter the current discount. Yeah, but if I make it more complicated, it's going to lose the mechanics of this. I mean, I guess I should do a simpler example, which is up here. So if we get to sort of here, we could put that in and say something like if expression 1 equals something like 2 or something, doesn't really matter, and then break. Okay, breaking the loop. So a loop can be broken. Oh, okay. When the break when break is reached, the loop ends. The loop ends. When break is reached, the loop ends, or the loop no longer continues. It's probably better. When the conditional break statement is reached, the loop no longer continues. This can be useful when reaching, when checking for, this can be useful when checking for, no, actually, let's get rid of that. Okay, so in the below example, the loop finishes when the discount the loop is broken when the discount reaches the discount limit. So we've got discount limit is 20, discount currently is 0, product limit is 10. So even though it's at 10, we're saying that this product is can't be this yeah, even though this is 10, product limit is 10, product limit is 10. If it's less than or equal to 10, then that finishes. That discount limit could change on like a daily basis or what have you to allow this to increase. I mean, like, thinking of other ways to make this a little bit more similar to everyday scenarios. I mean, you could have, let me just riff on this a bit. So you could have like product ID is equal to 1, right? And then you could say something like or product A ID, right? And then product B ID. And then you could have, I'm just making this up as I go. You could have, let's not do this. I was thinking maybe we could have an array and we could loop over the array, and we could have in our array, we could have a bunch of IDs. And then if they correlate to, if the ID is a certain like value, then we would run the discount. If it's not, then we won't run the discount. There would be a discount limit as well. I mean, let's just play with that. Let's just play with that. So we're going to copy this. I just want to, now I've got it in my head, I just want to see if I can actually do something with it. So let me just grab this and have a little advanced example, shall we? Let's get rid of this for a sec. So what I was thinking is we could have, say, products in basket, which is an array. And our array, we could have different IDs. So we could have 1, 2, so 12. We could have 10. We could have, I don't know, so products in basket, 12, 10, 20, just making all of this up, 1 and 15. Oh yeah, let's say for example we need to have multiples. So let's say that we've got 1 in there twice, right? And let's have 1 in there again, something like that. And then what we can say is discount is 0, discount limit is 20, product limit is 10. So we can only have go through this 10 times, right? So you can only have 10 of these products that have this discount. And then we could say something like product ID with discount is equal to 1, right? So that's the ID that gets that product discount. But we can only go for 20, right? So you can't have, like, you know, hundreds of these products of the ID of 1, right, to work out what your discount is. So then what we do is we loop over the basket quantity, right? So in this case, we're going to do like a count. So let's basket quantity of 1, and then we've got the quantity here, and what we can do is like get the current product. So we can say current product is equal to products in basket, products in basket. That's what I need. And then we have our basket QTY. I mean, I'm already seeing flaws in this because it's saying, well, it really depends on the position in which they've actually entered the basket. So no, this isn't actually going to work because there's a failure in here, because this is going to change. Let's say, for example, I've added these in there, unless they were ordered. Yeah, so let's say that was 1, that was 1, that was, and then change that to 12. And that was 1, change that to 20. I mean, if they were ordered, it would be something like 12, 15, 20, something like that. So we would loop over, and we're going to set that to 0 because that is the index. So in fact, we do product index. Product index is 0, and we can say product index plus plus. The basket, the amount of times this can go through is 10, so we can just say like limit. So oh, sorry, product index, beg your pardon. Yeah, product limit is 10. So you'd have product index is 0, product index is less than or equal to the product limit. So that's the amount that you can have in your basket. So yeah, okay, it was basket limit, but whatever. So this current product ID is now products in basket, products in basket, and then this is the product index that we need, right? And we're saying, well, if the current discount, which is set to 0, is equal to the discount limit, which is 20, right, then we say that the discount limit is reached, and we break out of this. And what we also need to do is say that, and then we bump up the discount. So down here we would have an if statement. We would have if product ID with discount is equal to our current product, right? Then we would apply the discount. Okay, again, this will only work if they're in that particular order, but okay. So it's going to loop over these things. It's only going to apply the discount if the ID of the current product is correct. There's better ways to write this, but this is just an example. So we've got 1, we've got 2, we've got 3. So that should be 5, 10, 15, right? Because we're saying that this should be 5, 10, 15, and then what else do we want to do? We're only worried about the discount, aren't we? Discount is now bum. Right, let's give that a go. I don't know if this is going to work. I just basically made this up, so I have no idea if this is going to do any undefined array. Key 10 in PHP shellcode on line 2. Discount is now 15. So we are, it is where we should be, but we've got a problem here with the array key of 9. So I'm guessing it's something to do with the product index, because we're plussing and we're going through 10. Oh yes, of course, we're saying, well, it's got 10. So if we go up a bit, we should have, there we go, discount is now 5, discount is now 10, discount is now 15, and we're skipping over, well, that would be a continue rather than a break, so I don't know why that's, oh, it's probably because of all these undefined things, because it's looping through all the bits and pieces. Okay, so what we can say is, we could say down in here, we can harden this up and say if is set again, there are so many better ways to do this. Products in basket with the product index, which is that one. If that's set, then we run that. Or even better, let's do it. If that isn't set, then we continue. Or even better, instead of continuing, we break. And then that would be a continue. Yeah, right. Oh. Something like that. Let's have a little look. Yeah, here we go. So it's just 5, 10, 15, 15, 15, 15. And the reason why we're continuing on is because we've done 1, 2, 3, and then the other 1, 2, and 3 are 20, 15, and 12. Yeah. Yes. Discount is now. So that doesn't, that never actually breaches. So that's 5, 10, 15. So if we change that to, if we added some more products, so let's say 1, 1, 1. So what would that be? 5, 10, 15, 20. At this point, it will stop, and then we have 25, 30. Well, it will stop at 20, and then although we're continuing at 20, so then it will go and do this lot. So let's run that. Yeah, there we go. So we've got 5, 10, 15, 20, and it's now hit the discount limit is reached, the discount limit is reached, the discount limit is reached. Really, what we should be doing is breaking out of that rather than continuing. And obviously breaking out of that. Unless we wanted to amplify this a little bit more and have, like, you know, additional discounts per product, right? So you could have, like, this could have a discount where it has a limit of, say, 20, and then we could have, like, more products of 12, and then we could, you know, have, but again, I'm really blowing this out of the context for this. I guess what I can do is just leave this as a advanced sort of example. I'll grab this and I'll give a little bit more explanation as to what this is doing. So yeah, let me put some, unless this seems a bit too overly complicated for the explanation of what the for loop is trying to achieve, but you know, in my head this makes sense, but I don't know. I got to think about the audience here, like the target audience. Target audience is going to be someone who doesn't know what a for loop is, right? So when they look at this massive mound of mess, are they going to go, I'm scared, and then, you know, maybe I should get rid of it. Maybe I've gone a little bit too ahead of myself. Yeah, let's get rid of that. I mean, we are doing the continue, right? We are doing the continue. So maybe we do leave it in, because that shows that we are continuing the loop. And we are breaking out of this. So let's say, I tell you what, let's grab that and create a new thing in here. So this is, the limit is 10, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We should be good. Let's just take that out. Right. So we can say product at index not found. Skipping. Loop completed. Something like that. Right, let's just run that again, because what we'll see is the fact that we have, even though we've got 10 as the limit, oops, damn it. Even though we've got 10 at the limit, we actually exit out earlier. And I think before that wasn't explained very well. Here we go. So we've got product at index 8 not found, loop completed, right? Which is what this thing is doing, because it's checking whether that is set or not. So if the is set, if this exists, then and let's do a bit of refactoring whilst we're here. So we can say, have we got product ID? No, we don't. Brilliant. So here we can say that product ID is equal to that. So if the product ID isn't set at that index, then that doesn't work. So let's change the current product ID. Actually, that's what we've got. And in fact, that's going to fail. So no, that isn't going to work, is it? Because that, unless we were to do this in PHP 8 land, and then I could have a null coalescing operator. No, let's not. I'm starting to throw all sorts of toys into this. Let's just keep it simple at the minute. But we could have like a question mark, so it just, you know, it gets set if it's there, if it's not. But let's keep this nice and simple. Let me just fix these tabs. No, put a space there as well. Okay. That looks good. I'm just tidying up a bit here, making this a little bit more neater. Oops. Unfortunately, there isn't any kind of like code style checking on this stuff. There probably should be, to keep things consistent throughout the documentation, but there isn't. That's good. That's good. Right. I think I'm gonna. Oh, I need to explain the breaking and the continuing and the output. So let's grab that. I think just based on time, I'm gonna shoot off after this because I will finish this up later on this evening. I think because I have to be somewhere. So yeah, I will commit what we've got because I really have to dive off. So let's do a let's come out of this. Go commit ISAM. Work in progress. Adding examples for loops. Cool. All right, and I will push this up. Marvelous. Well, thank you ever so much for sticking with me and going through all of that. I hope that was making sense as I was going. But yeah, I'm gonna finish this example off later tonight and explain why and how these are breaking and continuing in the loop, and then we should be good on that one. So yeah, podcast will be out on Thursday, so do check that out. Go to your podcast players and search for How to Code Well. That has already been recorded and is set to go out on Thursday. Thank you ever so much for watching. Happy coding, everyone, and I'll see you again next week. Cheers. Bye bye.